you would probably think we get the same behavior. So it's very interesting to see how we're able to look across and recognize things in a bent model that might exist in a flat, like cylinders in this case. This next one is scale body. We now give you the ability in ST10 to scale the body. And you can see this demo, it's flashing by pretty quickly, but for example, I wanted to 3D print this model. When I went to print it, it's too big for my printer volume. Come back and I scale it by 50%. Go back to my printing application. I can see now it fits very well, very nicely in my printing volume. So just one of the applications you can do with body scaling. It supports both uniform and non-uniform. If you're doing injection molding, for example, and need to account for shrinkage, that's a perfect tool for you to do that. This next enhancement, no video, but enhancement allows me to pick a component or a set of components in the assembly, pick some reference geometry that may exist in other parts of your assembly, and very quickly clone or copy those components to that similar geometry. So you may have missed it. It goes pretty fast, and that's the key. It's very fast. We're very productive. We've enhanced productivity for placing parts in this scenario, maybe 10x or even greater. So shape recognition, automatic recognition of geometry, and populating your designs very quickly is something that I think you're going to find very useful and very productive in your workflows. For 3D sketching, I think we introduced 3D sketching in ST7. We continue to drive and to add value in 3D sketching, and ST10 will be no different. We're actually adding now the ability to do automatic route path creation. So you pick 2 key points and it automatically will route from point A to point B, giving you the most appropriate path relative to your coordinate system. And you see there it offers you a number of options. So if you don't like the path that it creates, you can click and go to the next path and continue on until you find the path that suits your needs. And that will be available in parts, sheet metal, and assembly, of course, in express route. So our goal here is to push 3D sketching and make it the primary tool for path routing in the future. I mentioned data management. Built-in data management, like I said, was a huge success. We've got a lot of folks talking about it, a lot of folks implementing it. We're getting some feedback, and that feedback is good. And you'll see in ST10, we're going to take that feedback and we're going to drive to make it even better. Of course, we have revisioning in ST9. What we're going to do in ST10 is to allow you to track those revisions, have revision notes, and even provide a very quick query where if I'm in an assembly, and I may suspect that there are newer revisions in my assembly that I need to account for, there'll be a simple click of a button. You'll be able to find every, I would say, out of rev model in your assembly, and then we'll offer up the appropriate model that you can replace. So it's very interesting work there, very good technology, just solving those hard problems that you guys have to deal with every day. The other thing that we're doing is helping you deal with duplicate files. And I know in your work, and we hear it all the time, you get duplicate files created, duplicate geometry, or maybe even very similar geometry. In ST10, you're going to be able to query your data very quickly, come up with a list of components in rank order that might be most like the one you're looking for. We'll do some internal version matching. We'll look at some property data to see if there's a match. We'll also look to see if there might have been a drawing created for a particular file. I think the lack of a drawing is an indicator that there's a part that's not very important out there. You might want to look at it. It might be something you can get rid of. So some very good work by the team there. And then in Team Center integration for Solid Edge, a couple of things here that I think you're going to find very useful. The first being offline mode. You're going to be able to, in ST10, be able to go offline. You get all your data into your cache, unplug either from Team Center or unplug from the network, take your computer wherever you need to go, and still do work and not have to worry about losing that information as it gets put back into Team Center when you're done. So you finish your work, you go back online, that data syncs. Even new file creation, which is very interesting. I go offline, I create a new file, I go back online, and we automatically recognize that and we'll pull it in and do the needful things to get it back into Team Center. And the next thing there is kind of a small thing. It seems very small, but I think you're going to find it very productive, very useful, and that's to be able to open the drawing directly based on the active part file. So if I've got an active file that I need to see the drawing of, I don't have to go do a where used to go out into the system and find it. Click the button, the system will do the work for you and actually open that draft file automatically. This is on the Team Center slide. Rumor has it that's going to be in built-in data management as well, so keep an eye out for that. We're going to continue to leverage our strong relationship with Microsoft. You saw the video, and I love that video, talking about taking advantage of the power of the Surface, Microsoft Surface devices. And we'll continue to do that as well. We'll continue to leverage that relationship and take advantage of the power of those devices. One of the nice things about the device, it has the pen, and you can see it down there, that in ST10, we're going to actually use that pen to do sketchbook-like sketching in Solid Edge. So for conceptual sketching, you'll be able to use the pen to draw. You get precise geometry, very much like what you see in Sketchbook today. And it does use the Microsoft inking technology, that technology that they provide under the covers that we were able to take advantage of. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ken Hosh. I think he had to leave a little early. He's not here right now, and he is the manager and the director of the Sketchbook application. And we've been collaborating with that team, and they've given us some good code and some good advice as we've gone down this path. So we'll take a look at a quick demo here, and don't be fooled. You may look at this and you think, well, I saw that yesterday in Dan's presentation. And if you look very closely, you'll notice that that's Solid Edge. That's not Sketchbook. You're going to be able to use the pen. You're going to be able to draw, get precise geometry with relationships, some nice trimming action there. This particular case, this is in draft, where we have an image that we've brought in the draft, and we're sketching over it to outline what would be the shell of the spring power car. Of course, that's Doug. I think referencing to Santa Claus. That's Santa Claus drawing there. And so once he's done, we can take that sketch, move it directly into 3D modeling, create a 3D model very quick and easily from the sketch, from the concept sketch that's created using the pen. So some very, very good work there. Moving on, mesh models. Mesh models are prevalent today. We're seeing more and more mesh models in our customers' workflows. It's really an explosion of mesh models, and these things are coming from all over the place. Right, so you get STL files, you can scan models, you have these polygonal modeling systems that are creating them. Topology optimization or generative modeling creates mesh type models, and you see the list there. We have to be able to respond to those things, right? So in Solid Edge today, you can actually bring in these mesh models, but you can't do much with them. They're referenced, you can look at them, they look nice, but pretty much a dead end. So we have to be able to deal with them. We've got a couple of things that we're working on, and one you may have seen. I'm going to cover it as an ST10 enhancement, but it's actually available soon in beta at ST9, but it's reverse engineering. One of our most highly requested enhancements is to provide functionality that lets me take that scan data, those mesh models, and actually create VREF, good solid geometry that can be used in Solid Edge. And you see the workflow here. Not my favorite workflow. There's a lot of manual painting and recognition that goes on. We do have automatic recognition of geometry and faces and grouping, but what ultimately you have to do is to create your model through cleaning up the mesh, converting your surfaces to VREF, trimming, and ultimately creating that solid. So that's great. So we're actually going to make that available very soon. And when I say soon, I mean maybe tomorrow, maybe early next week. So I want to encourage you to keep an eye on the community. So when we're ready for it to go beta, we'll announce it on the community, give you some instructions on how you might download it and how you report issues back to us. Remember, it is beta. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not a member of the community, this is an opportunity, maybe a reason you can go join the community. It's another advantage to being part of that community. So there's reverse engineering that addresses those models, but what if you could take those models directly, take those mesh models, and just treat them like a classical VREF model and create features and cuts and use them in a very traditional way? Well, in ST10, Solid Edge is going to leverage some new technology from Parasolid called convergent modeling that allows you to do just that. Parasolid lets you treat now mesh models very, very much like you treat a VREF model. You can be able to cut it, you can be able to create protrusions, you can be able to thin wall it, all the things you can do with VREF models, you can be able to do very similar things with mesh models. We're working fervently now so that you're going to be able to do those things in Solid Edge in ST10. This demo will show you kind of a workflow. It's kind of a silly workflow, but it demonstrates the case. So in this particular case, I go to GrabCAD, I find an iPhone case that I like. Just so happens it's only in STL format, so what I can do, I can download that to my machine, open up that STL file in Solid Edge, and then have my way with it. In this case, I'm going to put some full text on there, and then create a cutout. This cutout is actually cutting the mesh model. This is not, there's no smoke and mirrors here. That's not a VREF. That is actually a mesh model. And then from there, I can take that now that it's done, and I've customized my case. In this case, I'm going to go print it, and maybe I'll send it to a 3D printing service to do that for me. So convergent modeling, mesh modeling, and solid edge. Look for that in ST10. I think it's going to be revolutionary and give you some opportunities to do things you haven't been able to do before. And the next is 3D printing. So 3D printing, there's a lot of talk. We've talked about it a good bit. We had several things at ST9 to help you along that journey of 3D printing. We got a lot more coming in ST10. The first thing there is direct print from Solid Edge. You're going to be able to take your models and print them directly to a printer that you might have connected to your computer. Or if you don't have your own printer, then as you saw in that previous example, we're going to have built-in opportunity for you to serve those up to the common service providers, 3D print service providers like 3 or Mine, one that we're partnering with that will have an application built directly into Solid Edge. So those were the primary things I wanted to talk about. Now last year we teased you a bit with a redacted slide, show you the ST10, ST9, and kind of fooled you into thinking we're going to show you everything. This year we're going to be a little bit more transparent. We're going to show you, I'd like to be able to show you everything. When you're here, good opportunity to just let the cat out of the bag. So let's start by looking at sheet metal. We've got a lot of nice things coming in sheet metal. The first thing I'll talk about, this will be a simple list, is contour flange. So contour flange, you're going to... What happened? Dan Staples, he pulled the plug. Man, sorry about that. I think I get the message. So we'll just have to wait. Did I have you going? Anyway, I'm excited about ST10. In the spring, we'll show you the rest, and I'm sure you'll be as excited then as I am right now. And thanks again for being here, and I'll turn it back over to Richard.